Hi Canisius, it's Wednesday, October 7th, and I'm Alexis Book. In today's news, we will be interviewing Editor-in-Chief of the Griffin, CJ Gates, about the new Canisius marketing campaign. We will also give you an inside look at Darby Ratliff's plans for her new position as Vice President of Student Organizations. We'll also get an inside look at what some of the students think about their club's budget. And as always, we will keep you updated on what happened in sports this past week and let you in on some upcoming events happening on campus. Stay tuned. This is Canisius Connections. CJ Gates. CJ had the opportunity to speak about the college's new campaign entitled You Can with Matthew Wojcik, the Canisius Assistant Vice President for Marketing and Communications. Hi CJ.
Hi.
So first and foremost, can you give us a brief overview of the You Can campaign?
Sure. So it's been about a year in the making. They started it last October. Matthew Wojcik was hired by Bill Collins, who's the new Vice President of Institutional Advancement. They saw that Go Exploring wasn't too well received by Canisius or its community, and they immediately started working on a new campaign. So it's been since October that they've been working on it, and just this past week they rolled it out. The new website went live recently, and you're going to start seeing billboards and TV advertisements.
Nice. So after the failure of the Go Exploring campaign, what is You Can doing to represent Canisius Life better and attract prospective students?
So the difference between this campaign and Go Exploring is that this campaign is going to be focusing on actual student stories. So it's going to be specific and tell one student's story and use that as a selling point. So they gave a lot of examples such as, direct an ESPN3 game in the new studio in Science Hall, or be on the Golden Griffin Fund and win the World Finance Championship that Canisius won this past year. So it's just highlighting specific student stories that potential students can kind of put themselves in that role and be like, hey, I can do that at Canisius. You can do that at Canisius. That's what they're going for.
Okay, and the Griffin has previously stated that Matt Wojcik was unable to provide a hard number for how much the campaign cost the college, but do you have any information as to what went into the campaign?
We're still looking into that. We're going to start contacting other colleges to see if they'll release what they've spent on their marketing campaigns. But we're starting to do research as well. We're going to call WGRZ, WIVB, WKBW to see how much it costs to actually produce, to air an advertisement on their channel. Canisius is airing 30-second ads and 15-second ads coming up soon. They're running ads in the Buffalo News. So all these things, you can get actual numbers. It just takes some time to do it. And when Mr. Wojcik denied us the numbers Thursday afternoon at 4:55, there wasn't enough time in the day to, collect those numbers before we went to print. So we had to go with what we got. And we have this week off in the Griffin, and next week will be our follow-up story.
Okay. All right, and then finally, when can we expect this new marketing campaign to roll out in its entirety?
So billboards will start rolling out, I believe, this week in the Buffalo and Rochester community, and then the following week you'll start seeing those TV spots that I mentioned. They'll start with a 30-second spot that will kind of focus on Canisius as a whole, and then they're going to get into 15-second spots that highlight those student experiences that I mentioned. The new Canisius homepage went live yesterday, actually. And the rest of the website's still getting kind of worked out, and they hope to have that ready by spring. But yeah, all in all, it's getting there.
All right. Well, thanks for talking with us, CJ.
Anytime.
Next up, Darby Ratliff, the new Vice President of Student Organizations, sits down for an interview with Mike McQuaid.
September brings its own energy. they starting to believe there's something magic going on here in Houston?
The universe, the way it reacts to that time of the year.
Where else can you bring a set of antlers into a stadium?
When every game matters like that, everything's magnified, everything's scrutinized. It will bring out the best in you also, I guarantee you that.
Catch, here comes Donaldson home! Oh, what a play by Donaldson!
Welcome back to Canisius Connections. I'm Mike McQuaid. Joining me today is the new Vice President of Student Organizations, Darby Ratliff. Welcome, Darby.
How you doing, Mike?
Hello. It's great to have you here on the show.
Appreciate you having me.
And now, Darby, you were recently chosen by USA to fill the role of VPSO after Vance resigned over the summer. What made you want to take on this new position?
Well, I've been involved in clubs since I started at Canisius, and so I decided that was the best way to really give back to the community and getting involved with USA.
Mm-hmm. And where do you look to build on what Vance has left behind, and what do you want to change or improve?
I really want to build right off of what Vance did. He did a lot of great things with the position, especially given that it was the first year that the VPSO existed. I really want to work on equalizing clubs all over campus. Some clubs are like RHA and they're actively involved all the time. Other clubs are much smaller and don't hold as many events. So I'd really like to have a system that reflects that attitude on campus, so that students in all clubs feels that they're as though they're appreciated by USA and like as we support their mission.
All right. And is it tough to manage being involved with so many areas of the campus?
You know, I thought it would be, but it's actually been a pretty seamless transition for the most part. I'm still learning a lot of the new rules and procedures, but it was pretty easy to pick up right where Vance left off. He left me in a very good place. And I've always been really good at time management, so its balancing hasn't been too bad. It's been nice actually to have like required to do 6 office hours in one place. Gets me to sit down and really get to work.
Mm-hmm. And this is not the first time you've taken on a leadership role. I understand you were previously on Senate, correct? Do you think the responsibilities of that role helped prepare you for this one?
Oh, absolutely. This would have been my 3rd year on Senate had I not been appointed. Initially, I was the club support chair going into last year, and so I worked with clubs already, doing inventories and really trying to address their needs on campus. And so that really helped prepare me for this position. Besides that, I was really familiar with USA, and I understood how it worked and what processes clubs would need to go through in order to become new organizations.
All right, excellent. And before we go, do you have anything you'd like to say to the students on campus to get them interested in clubs?
Absolutely. I mean, just get involved. Do what you really want to do. Find an interest that suits you, and there's probably a club for it. If not, you're welcome to start one.
All right. Well, thanks for coming. We really enjoyed this.
Welcome back to Canisius Connections. I'm Alexis Book.
And I'm CJ Gates. Let's get things started with the men's soccer team. They were in action on Saturday on the road, taking on the Fairfield Stags in the team's 3rd MAC game of the season. They came into the game winless in their previous 2 games, and unfortunately that trend would continue as the Griffs dropped the game 1-0. Andrew Coughlin made 6 saves, but it wasn't enough for the Griffs as they managed just 1 shot on goal in the second half. The loss drops the team to 3-6-1 overall with an 0-3 conference record. Canisius ranks dead last in the MAC, and they're currently involved with a match against the Siena Saints over at the Dembski Sports Complex.
Turning now to the women's side, things haven't been going much better for the Lady Griffs either, as they've dropped 3 of their first 4 conference games heading into today's showdown with the Siena Saints at Siena. The Griffs would unfortunately drop that game as well, and the Saints scored twice in 10 minutes in the second half to seal a 2-0 win. The Griffs will stay on the road as they travel to Iona on Saturday to take on the Gales at 2 p.m. before returning home next Saturday against Quinnipiac.
Shifting gears to volleyball now, the Griffs have had the week off following a pair of losses over the weekend to Marist on Saturday and Siena on Sunday. The Griffs dropped both games by a score of 3-1 and will look to regroup this Saturday as they make the short trek up to Lewiston to take on Niagara. Despite the pair of losses, Canisius is still 3-3 in conference play and are right in the middle of the MAC standings, sitting at 5th out of 10 teams.
The cross-country team was in action as well over the weekend as they traveled to Pennsylvania to take part in the Paul Short Invitational. Both the men and women's team took 6th place in the 42nd annual event, with Jeff Antelos and Chad Malloy leading the way on the men's side with nearly identical times of 24 minutes and 37 seconds and 24 minutes 38 seconds respectively. The women had 5 runners finish in the top 100, with Siobhan Quinn leading the way with a time of 21 minutes and 35 seconds, which was good enough for 7th overall.
The Griffs hockey team kicks off their regular season this weekend with a game against Penn State in the Harbor Center. The Griffs dropped an exhibition game on Sunday against the Ontario Institute of Technology, getting doubled up 4-2. Jeff Saprika and Ralph Kademi tallied for the Griffs in the loss, and goalies Riley Turner and Simon Hoffley split time in net. Turner gave up all 4 goals on 14 shots, while Hoffley needed only to make 4 saves over the game's final 29 minutes.
That's all for sports. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Canisius Connection.
No, Kevin. Mere due, aspetta. No, mere due, aspetta. Baccalo.
Oh, Walter, look! These adorable little freaks are headed to Orlando, too.
You're going to VillainCon, aren't you?
VillainCon! I'm gonna get all my favorite villains to sign my magazine. Scarlet Overkill! If I was a minion, that's who I'd want to work for. God,
welcome to VillainCon, the biggest gathering of criminals anywhere.
Any evil talents?
Not bad.
What about you? Any evil talents?
Hello! La la la, la la la. Eh?
That's not evil or a talent.
Ladies and gentlemen, the supervillain we've all been waiting for, Scarlet Overkill!
Doesn't it feel so good to be bad?
Work for me, and all your dreams come true. Respect. Power.
Banana!
Wow, these cats are pumped.
Maybe I'll settle them down with a bedtime story.
Bedtime party?
Once upon a time, there were 3 little pigs. The pigs encountered a big, bad wolf who hired the 3 pigs to come work for her. One day, the pigs did something very stupid. So the wolf huffed and puffed, and she blew them off the face of the earth! The end.
Back. After the annual budget release for all of the clubs on campus, Canisius Connections reporter Aliyah Harrell got together with some of the clubs to discuss budgets, the appeal process, and how they feel about the money they were allocated.
It's my life. Good afternoon. My name is Aaliyah, and I'm from Griff TV, and you're tuned into Life with Leah.
I don't know if you students are aware, but in the September 18th issue of the Griffin, the amount of money requested from each budget for the clubs was posted. I am now going around campus to interview a few clubs to see how they feel about the amount they were allotted. I am here with the Vice President of Diffusion Gaming Society, Nick. How are you today?
I'm doing good. Tired. How about yourself?
I'm fine, thank you. How much money did you request for your budget for your club?
When we requested, we asked for approximately, I want to say about $7,000.
$7,000, and how much were you actually allotted?
$3,000.
How do you feel about that? Because that's a big jump.
I mean, it happens. I know it does. Usually, finance committee, what they do is they take a look at your budget. From what I've learned, is they take a look at it, they cut it in half right away, and then they throw away what else they don't find that is needed.
Do you think the process in which they go about distributing the money is fair?
I can't really say. I mean, I know SPB gets it gets a good amount of money, but I know what they do with it. You know, they definitely run all, most of the events like Spring Fest, Fall Fest, and all that. So they do get their fair share of money. I'm not too sure about the other clubs. I guess it sort of depends on the finance committee's mind what you get. I know Fusion, probably a lot of the finance committee thinks that we're just a bunch of video gamers, but it's more than that. We're a community, so they probably don't see it as that. They see it as a bunch of just kids playing video games all day.
Hi, I'm here with the event coordinator of Gospel Ensemble, Clarice Simmons. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. As you are aware, the Griffin did release the amount of money each club requested versus the amount of money they were allotted. How did you feel about the money you requested versus the amount you were actually given?
We were actually given almost the amount that we were requested, so it wasn't bad.
Do you think the amount you receive versus other clubs is fair? Because you have bigger clubs, obviously that's always going to receive more than you, but do you think there's a solution to where each club should start at a certain amount so they could get a lot of their activities done?
I think that the money that we requested, we got a fair amount of it because we are a small club, so that was good. But I do think that there should be a minimum amount you should request because there's small clubs that are trying to build themselves, but they can't build themselves because they don't have enough money to.
Hi, I'm here with the co-president, Dan, from the Project Conservation Club, and I just came to ask him a few questions today about his budget. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm pretty sure you're aware that the budgets were released in the Griffin for the September 18th issue. What was the budget you requested?
We requested $943.11.
And how much were you allotted?
The whole thing.
Victory screech!
Okay, so you really don't have any complaints then about what you received, but would you have liked to receive more? Were you playing it safe when you requested that amount of money?
I mean, I wasn't necessarily playing it safe. Didn't over budget. I knew that we'd only need $100 worth of this stuff, so I only asked for $100. I didn't ask for $200 or $300 like sometimes some other clubs do.
So you were one of the very few clubs that requested an amount of money and received the actual amount. So what is some advice or suggestive approaches you would give to other clubs when they go forward with appealing or requesting more money for the future to come?
I would definitely say to be very specific when you're asking for money in terms of documentation. Screenshot everything and make sure that everything is in order before you send it, and make sure you leave no room for questions or possible controversy over the topic. And then also definitely not to over budget, because I know that's a thing that a lot of clubs do. If you're doing that, there's a less likely chance that you're going to even get the money that you want.
So in other words, when requesting money for the other clubs, you might want to dot your I's and cross your T's. Thank you very much for talking to me today, and have a nice day.
You're welcome.
I am here with the co-president, Jessica, from the Women and Gender Studies Club. How are you today?
Pretty good. Not doing too bad. Lots of homework, but that's usual.
Did you enjoy the rain today?
My feet are still soaking wet, so not exactly.
I feel you. I have my flats on.
Yeah.
Well, how much money did you request for the Women and Gender Studies Club?
We requested about $400 just starting off because we are a new club. We are basically building it up from the ground again, unfortunately due to past members not taking control of the active support on campus. With that said, we were new, so it was a little bit more difficult figuring how to do a budget and how much money is normal for people to request, especially of a budget of as much as like thousands and thousands of dollars. It's kind of weird, like where do you start? About like $160 was what we received. With that said, we are going for the appeals.
I completely understand. It must be frustrating that you felt you were being modest by starting at $400 and then you only received $167. So you are now appealing that budget. What is the exact amount? Do you have an exact amount that you are now requesting?
I believe it's like $1,064 is what we're appealing for. We have added a couple more events to this itinerary this semester. With that said, we were having a speaker come in November. I had emailed you briefly about, named Danielle, who was in an all-women's prison for 7 years in North Carolina. And she's coming here to tell us and tell Canisius students in general about the issues that she faced with equality and the problems that she faced with healthcare, rape, all these other issues that happen in a women's prison that maybe we don't have the privilege to really completely understand. And I think it's important to have those opportunities and be able to have speakers like that come to campus and diversify the community a little bit more and make us a little bit more understanding.
Well, I thank you for sharing that information because I have spoke to 3 other clubs and they have not had that issue, but seeming that you, the Women and Gender Studies Club is like building from the ground up again, this will be very informative to the clubs that are also doing the same, so they will know not to make not so much the same mistake, because like you said, you're not properly informed, but they will be better informed. So I thank you for coming on and sharing your experience, and hopefully you will add insight into this process of requesting money. It sounds very tedious, and I just wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you for watching, and that's all with Life with Leah. Back to you guys.
September brings its own energy.
They're starting to believe there's something magic going on here in Houston.
The universe, the way it reacts to that time of the year.
Where else can you bring a set of antlers into a stadium?
When every game matters like that, everything's magnified, everything's scrutinized. It will bring out the best in you also, I guarantee you that.
Catch, here comes Donaldson home! Oh, what a play by Donaldson!
Welcome back to Canisius Connections. Now let's take a look at some of the upcoming events on campus. SPB is selling tickets for the Haunted Catacombs as well as the White Panda EDM experience all week long in the Office of Student Life. Get them before they sell out. Griff Flix is airing Minions this Thursday, October 8th in the Palisano Pavilion. Come on by for free popcorn and drinks. Want to learn more about study abroad? Come to the first Study Abroad informational session in the Student Center Conference Room above the dining hall on October 14th at 5 p.m. Come get healthy with us and stop by Fit Club with Cody every Wednesday at 7 in Palisano for a full-body cardio jam session. Well, that's all we have for you today. Make sure to check out Griffin TV on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. We are a new show every week. From all of us here at Canisius Connections, have a good long weekend, Canisius.